So,
Great. I can see it well.
excellent. Right. So one of the things which we all contemplated, particularly as you would have seen, folks in Germany, we have a lot of charter members who are very senior. Quite few of them have been founding members. So how do we bring that seniority and that experience, which we have in this ecosystem, is one of the oldest chapters, I guess, in the TiE ecosystem, and at the same time stay relevant and opportunistic to our ecosystem in Rajasthan. We are not positioning ourselves to compete with other ecosystems in India, but this is an entrepreneurial state culturally, and we felt that how can we blend that experience and still remain young and fresh was something which we brainstormed over the last 6 or 8 months, and hence the concept of task force came about. And what we asked ourselves the question is that when we looked at our membership base across 200 odd members, we have about 60, 70 charter members and the remaining as associate members. What we found is that not only is our ecosystem, theoretically established, because a lot of successful companies have been born out of our state and our region. Multiple companies or startups are diversified into various types of businesses. You would have seen examples of Atul and Manoj, and a lot of them from for-profit to not-for-profit. So we have all sorts in terms of multidisciplinary experience available. Of course, maturity. I think a lot of our CMs have seen ups and downs, and hopefully they'll be able to cope with the present situation much better. When we look at funding and investment, we have the whole gamut from bootstrap right up till publicly listed companies in our ecosystem. We have startups and companies which are global in reach, as well as very embedded in the local ecosystem as well. So across both extremes as well. And then there is a lot of stuff which is happening around the IT and human resources and the accounting and finance services across shared services. And a lot of chapter members are utilizing that capability. And I feel this is a great assessment to say is that, who are we? What do we really have, and what can we do? And so this was a reckoning, and this was particularly a reckoning moment for me, that I am involved with some very, very established entrepreneurs through TiE here. And then what we said is that, let's take TiE's global mission. And of course, we've been very fortunate because we've been guided by Mahavir all the way through, given his experience at the whole sort of TiE global stuff. But equally, when we asked all our TiE CMs here, I think this came out quite clearly amongst all of us, where we said that what we want to do is we want to organize ourselves and spot opportunities which are future ready, or they are industries of the future. There was a point made by Atul, who's with us, and he said that a few years ago there weren't many coffee shops in our city of Jaipur, and today, before COVID, I think the last count was that there are 2,500 coffee shops, and this kind of exponential growth which happened in this city was something which happened right in front of us, and we could not spot this opportunity. Now, it's not just the coffee shop and the culture of drinking coffee or changing habits of coffee, drinking coffee. It's what happens to the supply chain, where is it produced, et cetera, et cetera. It's all an opportunity which we said we need to spot and stay focused on. So we said we need to organize and make sure that we don't miss these opportunities in the future and we stay relevant. That's one mission. The second is we wanted to make sure that within our TiE ecosystem, given the experience and the maturity which we have, how can we all cross-collaborate first amongst ourselves? As they say, charity begins at home. Can we do that first amongst ourselves and then take it further with the other chapters as well? So I think that was a resounding yes. Everybody has come forward, and there's some amazing work which a lot of people are doing here in Rajasthan. And thirdly, we said is that in our own way, we want to make sure that we have an indelible impact. As we said, we don't want to compete with the other ecosystems, but we want to make an indelible impact, which is true to the founding members of Rajasthan, to the value systems which they imbibe as well. So whenever we get confused, we come back and we look at this slide and seek motivation. And the way we brainstorm to organize ourselves is through this concept of task force. I'm sure in Germany you would have seen task forces being utilized in various shapes and form. But the way we've said to what we've said is that, listen, these task force is agnostic to TiE leadership. So, for example, president will come and go, but we have to create a durable task force with these senior members at the helm of affairs, and work continues as well. So it is not down to the whims and fancy of one president or the other. So this is something quite important for us, and we've organized ourselves. And not only that, we've made amendments to our constitution to make sure that our task forces are permanent and indelible. We will focus on the mission. The task force will focus on the mission. And we've also created a supporting mechanism within our executive team and also the secretariat as well to support these task forces. And I'll give you some examples as we go along. And more importantly, this is something which took a lot of time and deliberation, where people who are currently with you, David and team, are all co-chairs of these task forces. And each one of them are thought leaders, industry leaders. They have tremendous experience. And this is something which we're trying to triangulate in what our mission is going forward. And therefore, what we said is that, in summary, the only way to create focus and impact and permanency is through this model of task force. And here are some examples, and I'm sure there are many in Germany as well, but these are something which we picked up at a global level, that whenever you're going to make large-scale transformation, then you need to have a task force who's really focused and dedicated on solving these problems. And the problem we're trying to solve is that how can we attract startups in Rajasthan, in particular sectors, and offer them the support required for them to flourish and make our ecosystem sort of, indelible going forward. And therefore, the framework on the left-hand side, we're saying that on the left-hand side, we have people and expertise within our membership. And on the right-hand side, there are startups rather, who are yearning for that knowledge and expertise. But it's not a case of marrying these startups with the CMs. I mean, there are various programs which TiE does, which happens anyways as well. But we have to build a very solid middle layer here. And the middle layer is something which we've all agreed and signed up, fortunately. And the goal, if you see on the left-hand side, is to identify some segments or sectors which will create opportunities for startups in Rajasthan. Now, there may be wonderful things happening in New York or in Silicon Valley or in Bangalore, but we need to be focused on what's happening around us. And also to make sure that we are able to reposition TiE as a center of excellence, because the opportunities which we have in Rajasthan in terms of infrastructure, in terms of cost of labor, in terms of the quality of living, it is a phenomenal city for startups to come. And in the last couple of years, we've seen a large influx of startups across India who are now beginning to headquarter themselves in Jaipur as well. So we want to make sure that, like how David, you're saying market entry into Germany, we're saying market entry into Rajasthan, and TiE should be the first protocol for any advice or guidance. So that's our goal. And when we looked at our expertise and our capability within the TiE cohort, what we found is that if we were to organize ourselves around these three large task forces, so we have a very flourishing art, heritage, and hospitality sector. We have two very eminent charter members who are part of that ecosystem, who are co-chairs, Manoj and Atul. We have smart and intelligent manufacturing. I mean, this was a revelation for a lot of people that, manufacturing is boring, but manufacturing is doing actually some very interesting stuff. And there are certain companies here in Rajasthan which are really at the cutting edge not too far away from here in a location called Neemrana and surrounding area. And we felt that if we are able to tap in that particular knowledge and expertise as well, there could be a lot of ancillary startups in that space which we can do that. For example, if within our membership, we have a company which does smart metering, and it is perhaps, I think, probably the second largest company in India. And it is all locally produced. These goods are all locally produced, and there's cutting edge technology as well. So there's a lot of software and systems which goes into that. So we said this task force needs to look at these opportunities. And thirdly, being a city, it's a tourism city, of course, but this is a state or a region which I believe values its food and its well-being compared to other ecosystems or other cities as well. And there are some wonderful companies, once again, in Rajasthan, spanning from agri-tech to food services, which are there. So we said we can't ignore that sector, and we have some very interesting co-chairs which are looking at that for us as well. So we said, whilst we have the goal defined, we've now got the sector and the sort of the segments defined. What should be our strategy? What should these task force be doing? And it's pretty simple, really. What we have to do is we have to make sure that we enable these sectors and help it grow. We need to do advocacy at multiple levels, and advocacy could be inter-chapter collaboration, for example, and that's why we are interested. And we also need to make sure that we create outreach with the thought leaders which we have, with the members which are there currently on the screen. They are people who, when they speak, people listen. And therefore, we can create outreach through their leadership and through their expertise as well. So we said that's the three things which we would expect the task force members to do. And then the models for collaboration is a standard list. There are industry level partnerships. We're talking to a couple of universities to get some research done in some of these sectors and see what can we do to help startups in terms of patents or in terms of new ideas. Twinning with international cities. This is pretty much, David, an accepted model in Europe, where two international cities can come together. I mean, Jaipur is a city which I think most European countries would like to twin with. And we should be looking at facilitating some of that, particularly in the arts and heritage sector. And then how do we link this all back to incubators and accelerators, not just here, but across India and perhaps in outside India as well. So there's a lot of partnerships and associations which we need to think of, and the task force leads will do that. And we believe that if we get all of these things done, we will be able to attract more startups. And the clusters, we have chosen, as you can see in front of your screen, does not necessarily mean that we don't like the other segments or the sectors as well. It is just what do we have as a starting point, and do we have enough thought leaders and senior members who can take some of these clusters going forward and identify the industries of the future. So hence, this selection process was also something which took us quite a lot of time. And then the way the composition of this task force is that under the leadership of the two co-chairs, what we will do is we will then get more members, and the membership, and what I mean by more members means members contributing to the task force development and enabling the strategy. But we will also be open to get people from other organizations or institutions to assist in the development of these task forces as well. So we're not confining ourselves only with TiE going forward. And this is a roadmap which we have set ourselves up. You can clearly see it's a 2 or 5 year journey. We're pretty much just here. We've just started a few months ago, and then COVID happened. But we've done some basic research in Rajasthan to see, how to go about identifying some of these sectors and these segments in a lot more detail. But we believe that in 2 to 5 years' times, if we stay focused and follow this path, there are 3 outcomes. We would have touched many more entrepreneurs' lives. I mean, that's what TiE is all about. We would have attracted startups, and we would have attracted startups for funding, And once again, we are very excited with Mahavir's initiative at TiE Angel Investment, because that's something we want to be be well prepared that through that model or through that platform, there is funding available to that startups as well. So we want to measure ourselves with these three metrics or outcomes. And we have various things now. So each task force is now organizing in terms of how they want to take those segments or those clusters going forward. Each will have its own path as well. But we're trying to make sure that we collaborate and assist each other with these task forces and share best practices. And I think over a period of time, we'll be happy to share more ideas, not just with amongst ourselves, but with other chapters as well. So that's the concept of task force. We have started in earnest over the last 6 months. You can see members on the screen as well. And what we had, so what we wanted to leave as a thought for you guys in Germany is that if you can piggyback on some of these sectors which we're talking about, and if there are common pools for association, I think manufacturing, intelligent manufacturing is, the name pops up. There could be some interesting association which we can drive between the two chapters as well and help amongst ourselves. I'm not saying that the other clusters are not important. They could be as well. But these are some things which we thought is a good starting point for both the membership base to collaborate and take this further. So I guess that's the long and the short of this. This is who we are, and that's what we're doing currently. Happy to answer any questions.
Chirag, David, I have a hard stop. I have another call to go to, so I will be signing off. All the best. I'm there if anything is needed. Thank you.
Thank you, man. Right, guys. There are all the co-chairs here on the table as well. So if there are any questions, happy to answer. Once again, questions from TiE Rajasthan for our German folks. If there are any questions, this is the right time to ask, I guess. Who goes first?
A great forum created, this Basant Khaitan, a great forum created by Chirag, our president. And I think it's an initiative which would be taking greatly forward with a partnership. In terms of the task force that I am responsible with my co-chair Manoj, I think the intelligent manufacturing part would take a strong leap with German partnership because they are in it at the cutting edge. So if there is anything that we can talk about either on this forum or outside the forum separately, we will be pleased to exchange views and learn from you as well. Thank you.
Yeah, so I'm the co-chair for Arts and Hospitality and Tourism. And, there's always been a connection. I belong to the industry myself, and there's always been a connection between Germany and us. ITB, the fair at Berlin is a very famous fair for our sector. You get travel agents all over the world, and we're looking forward to connecting with you all, and with anyone who's in the hospitality sector, or arts and heritage, and have exchange of people across, exchange of ideas across. For example, if I'm the food sector and I have restaurants in Bombay, why can't I open those restaurants in Germany, for example, or similar stuff coming across. There are lots of ideas. And in the post-COVID world, we're looking for new ideas. We should be looking at new synergies, looking at new exciting things to do so that people can interact more, get a freshness out of it. We look forward to any interaction in that direction.
Yeah. Now I'm with you again acoustically. Chirag, very, very impressive presentation. Please share with us, Manjuri or me. I'm just seeing intercity exchange. We would love to do something with Jaipur at some later stage. We are seeking to have enough members to be able to do things that other chapters are doing. Therefore, my request to you people in Rajasthan, if you know of anyone from Rajasthan who is stationed in Germany, if you know German friends of yours who would like to join TiE Germany, they're most welcome. We are a very small group. Our main goal is to grow, but once we grow, we hope to be part of the TiE global group, a more efficient and active part. We are already part now. And in fact, I had a phone call with GINSEP this morning, and we are cooperating. GINSEP also helps Indian companies enter the German industry. So if there is anything you people from Rajasthan are interested to do in Germany, don't hesitate to let us know. It's a lot of new faces, but give it a try. Maybe sometimes you'll have to try more than one time, but we will try to coordinate the people who are interested to enter Germany.
Sure.
Great. Any questions to Chirag?
David, maybe you allow me to just add some comment.
Sure.
Yes, we are a small team, but we already at least have also something to give. You mentioned all these interesting technology sectors where there's emphasis in your area, and I think what would be good on both sides of our chapters, if we can, of course, tell either new members or existing AMs who are interested in international collaborations, or not only in the Indian market or German market, but also vice versa, to tell them, look, we have collaborations with other chapters like the ones here of today, and we can also reach out to provide some assistance to enter the respective other market. For example, we have heard about MEF today. There's legal advice on intellectual property, tax, accounting, whatever, all these different kinds of things. This might also attract new members or boost the startups on your end if they know they have easy access to, for example, getting advice in Germany via the TiE network, which would, of course, be much more difficult for other channels.
Very nice. In fact, I forgot to mention, Chirag, when you talk about intelligent manufacturing in Germany, we call it Industry 4.0. It's a very common expression. And I have visited, in fact, working in foundries, I've already visited foundries using that IoT and industrial IoT. I have visited Bosch. We may be able to make a contact to Bosch, to anyone in Rajasthan who has something to share. And with TiE function could also be a bridge for people of your team in Rajasthan to try to enter the German market. We will be very, very glad to help if we can.
Sure. Sure. Thank you.
I really enjoy, I do not know if I should summarize now, because it's already been more than an hour we are talking with each other. So if someone wants to follow what I'm saying now, I just want to say I really have enjoyed this first of our such meetings internationally, linking with another chapter. We have 60 chapters. You can imagine, if you're good in math, how many such conferences can take place. I'm very proud if we have coined something that will continue, and we're looking forward to reunite with you after a while and be able to say what has happened between now and the next time we reunite in this form. I think post-COVID, these kind of meetings will still take place because they are very, very efficient.
Sure. I agree with you.
I would also like to add something when you were talking about the hospitality and heritage. I don't know exactly what you would need, but in case you are talking about bringing these coffee shops maybe in Germany or something like this, but if you need anything in real estate as a TiE real estate chair, I can also try to support you guys with any doubt in this area. And sure. We in the TiE here, we have like different kind of expertises. So I don't know what you need, but maybe in the future there is something you need from Germany in this sense. Just let us know.
Sure.
Please do. Also, when it comes to natural med, one of our members is very strong. He is Rohan Kapoor. He has a company in India and in Germany. He could not take part this time because he has a very important meeting with new buyers. And he is very much into Indian raw materials for the food industry and others. So I don't know, it was not Atul. I think it was
Raj.
Raj. So many faces, but please keep up. Don't hesitate, even a short notice. Oh, by the way, I wanted to take a picture of this screen. Is that okay with you? If someone says no, just take off this face. But I think this would be nice to have as a face of our email. So I'm just taking a picture now, and then I'll resend it to us all. Chirag, last words are yours.
Yes, thank you. Mahavir is not here, so firstly, I'm very grateful for him to facilitate this. Good to meet you, David, and the rest of the team in Germany. I'm sure we'll find ways. We have deep respect for Germany and its technological prowess as well. And we are a chapter and in a city which we're very hospitable. We are known for that, and we welcome you all post-COVID to come and visit and see what we're doing and continue this conversation and this collaboration. Thank you very much. Thank you.
But I'll do well there.
Well done. Well done.
Thank you very much. Namaskar.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. It was great. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Very nice meeting you. Dankeschön.
All of you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.